No, Kevin would stop the car, and the car said, I was like, what's wrong with your car? He's like, man, that back brake is fucked up.
Yes. What's going on? It's Danie and Kevin, the podcast. We're former radio hosts just trying to do something since we don't got a job.
So remember to like, share, subscribe. Big shouts out to everybody listening to us on Apple Music, on Amazon. It's not Apple Music. What is it? Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. And honestly, showing love to all the social media we've been breaking down, you know, and I wouldn't even say we, but it'd be more her. Like she's been breaking down all the social media down to reels. It's looking very official. You guys are responding to it, which is really cool.
Yeah. So definitely interact with us. You can interact with us wherever you're listening or watching this. If you're on YouTube, leave us a comment. If you're on social media, Instagram, TikTok, all that, drop us a comment. If you're on, you know, the audio parts, you know, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, go ahead, drop us a little message. You know what I'm saying? We'll hit y'all back up.
Absolutely.
But
how's the social media thing been going? I know you have your own business going.
Man, this shit hard. Child, it's just a lot of work, and I'm learning too, like, that's why everything takes so long. Like when people are trying to be rappers and stuff, and it's like, well, I'm popping, I should be hot now. And it's like, no, this stuff takes time. Like building a business, building a brand, all this stuff takes so much time. It's like each day I'm coming up with something and it's like, dang, I gotta go back and do that. Or I gotta go back and redo that. Or I didn't do that part right. I gotta go back and do that. So yeah, it's a lot of work, bruh. It's a lot of work. But hopefully it pays off.
It'll pay off, man.
Hopefully it pays off. It's been going pretty good so far, so we'll see.
Yeah, I was watching actually TD Jakes the other night.
Oh, hallelujah. When you start watching black preachers, hallelujah.
I always watch TD Jakes here and there. Miles Medina. He was the one that put me on the TD Jakes back in the day.
I love that.
But he was saying something that like fine wine wasn't like squashed in one day. Like you gotta like squash the berries. You gotta let the wine brew.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So like you gotta respect the process.
Right.
So that time is gonna pay into like, you know.
Right. Even doing this, it's like a whole process. I'm like, yo, how do people have these podcasts and have these previews coming out and this and this and this and this and all these clips? I'm like,
every day's a learning process. Like,
right. Every day it's been like, okay, camera angles. This is what we're focused on today.
If you notice, the camera lighting is a little bit more different.
Right.
Then we adjusted kind of the lighting. Well, I adjusted the lighting.
If you're watching.
Yeah, because I felt like, you know, the last couple ones were a little bit vibrant.
Vibrant thing.
So it's just little things that, you know, we learn every single day and add upon what we're doing.
Right.
That's fun.
But in addition to all of that stuff, you've had kind of I feel like we both had a little bit of a crazy week. I thought, you remember, we talked about it offline.
Yeah.
Or off mic, but you know, me thinking that my leg was gonna get chopped off because they told me that I had staph or MRSA. The stitches are still here.
You know, somebody in my high school actually passed away from MRSA.
See,
my old like home zone high school.
See, I remember when you told me that. I was like, see, I remember hearing bad stuff about these bacteria. But yeah, if you watch the last couple of episodes, long story short, I fell, sliced my leg open, got 10 stitches, and now it's infected.
The fucked up part is she calls me and she goes, hey, Kevin, yeah, I don't know what it is. I might have staph or MRSA, but she sounded so calm about it. I didn't know she was trying to be calm. So I was just like, yo, you know, it's fucking deadly, right? Like, it's not good.
I was like, I know. I've been
and then
crying.
she starts bursting in tears, and I'm like, shit.
Like, I know. I've been crying about it all day.
I'm sorry.
Right. But yeah, I went to the doctor, and she was like, she literally was, she was a black doctor, too. So I thought that was cool for one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I go in there, and she's like, okay, so you had stitches. Let's take a look at it. So I take the Band-Aid off, and she was like she was still professional, don't get me wrong, but like the black girl came out of her because she looked and she was like, what you been doing with this? I was like, what happened to, okay, ma'am, you know? Right, she was like, what you been doing with this? And I was like, I told her, the people at the emergency room, they told me to put peroxide on it. And she was like, wait a minute, you put peroxide on it every day? She did that with the gloves and the doctors every day. I'm like, yeah. She was like, girl,
That's what do that.
Right. And she was like, what else you been doing? She was like, did you like take the Band-Aid off? I was like, a little bit, but I had the Band-Aid on. They told me to keep it covered. She was like the whole time? I was like, okay, first of all, I don't like your judging eyes. I don't like your judging eyes. I'm not a medical professional. That's why I ask these questions. Nobody want to answer my questions.
Right.
And now she was like, well, I'm gonna have to swab this. She said, she was like, the way it looks like what staph in MRSA looks like. And I was like, huh? She said, but we gonna swab you up, girl. We gonna swab you up. We gonna take it to the lab.
You don't say that shit delicately.
Right. She was like, let me get them in here. I was like, what? But it ended up not being that. The results came back. I've been on antibiotics for the past week. So hopefully this thing is almost healed. Hopefully this thing is almost done. So that's been my week.
Yeah, well, I mean, thank God you don't have it.
Right, because that would have been very bad. So I know you had a rough week though, Kev.
I did. I lost somebody. I don't want to.
So sorry to hear that.
No, it's cool. I don't want to get deep into it, but I definitely. It was kind of a battle because he wasn't. He was fighting for a little bit, and I got the news. Like Saturday night leading into Sunday morning.
Right.
And I was in the middle of my club gig. Yeah. And I didn't, honestly, and this is where I am very disappointed in myself. So I got extremely, like, I remember I went a month sober.
Right.
I went a month sober.
Right.
Went a month sober. But I only went a month sober just to kind of figure out if I could do it and then be able to perform in my element in the way that I could. Right. Say that I have the self-control. Right. So after that, I was like, you know, man, I could just drink casual. I could have some fun. You know, even being a club DJ, like it's hard. So I had a bit of a time on Saturday night in Ybor City. And you know, I got the news, and I guess I was so emotionally broken apart that it led me to like really do some dumb things that night. I'm talking like sliding into DMs. I'm talking like reaching out to people. I'm talking like burning one of my homies' phones, like, and she's like, yo, I need to sleep in the morning. Like, I got clinicals in the morning. That kind of stuff.
No.
Yeah, man. It got one of those things. It was one of those things. And the next day I woke up and I didn't even know it happened. Like, I didn't know.
Like, you blacked out?
I didn't even know that I lost my homie. It got reintroduced to myself the next morning.
Wow. That's like, how much did you drink?
That's what I'm saying. And I don't mean to say it like I'm an alcoholic, but you know, but it was a big wake up call, and I was like, I looked at the text and I'm like, wow, like I got this text at 1:30. I found out about him. You know, and I'm like, so if I found out at 1:30 and I went through all of this through that night, Sunday morning comes and I don't remember it. And I'm now being reintroduced. I'm like, oh my God, he's gone.
Oh, so you have to go through all of that grief all over again. And then in a different way.
I was going through, like, because I was drinking, whatever,
and you're performing.
All numbed it all.
Yeah, and then too, you're performing, so you can't, well, you're trying at least not to like, in front of everybody.
Correct. So I woke up and I was just like hella disappointed. Like, I was very like, it was like cringy, because at the same time with dealing with that, I had to also deal with the fact that like I really let my emotions out on anybody that I could get a hold. It was almost like I was trying to reach out to someone for a hug every 5 seconds, you know, and I was really disappointed in myself, like extremely disappointed in myself. So the next couple, like the next 3 days, I just shut it completely down. I called you.
Yeah.
I called Danie. I was like, yo, I can't do nothing this week. I'm shutting it completely down. I have a big opportunity coming for me next week. I got to be able to get my mind right and figure out how to put everything in its place so I could be back to the normal Kevin. That,
right.
Then I had to go reach out to my homies and apologize to them and be like, I'm sorry for doing that. You know what I mean? It was cringy. And I don't think right now is the best time to get back to even casually drinking in the club and having fun, because it gives me anxiety now when I wake up in the morning. It's terrible. Like
what gives you anxiety? To drinking?
Period. Yep. No matter what.
Wow.
It's weird as shit. Like, because back then it used to give me a good feeling. So wake up, he's like, yeah, like I had fun last night. Let's go. You know what I mean? Now it's like I wake up in the morning like trying to like squeeze my pillow and like center myself. It's weird as shit. And I'm like, did the break cause that? But then I reflected on that and I was like, man, like maybe I'm just not mentally there to be like, involving all that. And I was talking to Dennis Martinez. He's our previous
program director.
And he's also a good friend of ours. We're going to see him in next week. And he told me, he was like, yo, like alcohol is a depressant. So however you feel, like it's going to amplify it by 10. So maybe there's something deep down that you haven't been able to
deal
clear,
with,
that it's now like when you're drinking, you're not able to enjoy. You're just spewing out your emotions as opposed to just being this, fun loving Kevin that you always used to be. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, that's probably true. And I did a lot of reflecting and I was able to kind of draw back to a lot of the things that I didn't take care of the last 5 years. And one was my body, my mind, my spirit, and just growing as an overall man. And I felt like,
wow, that gave me chills. This is going to a place.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really, it's scary, but I'm glad it happened. I'm glad it happened. And then, I don't want to touch on that, but again, I'm glad it happened because like now I'm in a place where I'm like, bro, like, all right, it's time I finally found the problem.
Right.
I found where I fucked up, where I didn't do things to help myself. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna attack this first.
That's crazy that this one incident, of you getting drunk, not knowing what happened, pissing people off, blah, blah, blah.
Bro. I look back at those texts and I was like, oh shit.
That's like, terrible.
I reached out to my ex. Yeah.
That's like the worst. And then you don't remember you did it?
I don't remember any of the conversation. None of it. I reached out to my ex. And that shit was cringy because just being real, we haven't been together for a minute, but it's been this like hard separation, and I might look like a clown right now, but like I wasn't aware that night. You know what I mean? So
it's real life, bro.
The way I saw it too, I added it up is like I received a text from her. So immediately my mind probably was like, call her. You know what I mean? So maybe if she didn't text me at that moment, I wouldn't have hit her up. But again, in that moment, I was so weak and whatever. I was just hitting people up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was weird. But what was cool with that when that happened, right? Because I still have a couple things that I have to give back to her or whatever. So she was like, can you just grab this, whatever, bring this back, cool. I actually got full closure from her, which was cool.
Really?
Which is, our history, and I don't want to break down too much of that. But, we had a long stretch for like 4 years.
Right. I know. Yeah. I was there.
Long stretch. And, I finally got the right closure on both of our sides, I would say. Like both of us.
Well, both of you guys feel okay with the break now.
Yeah.
Y'all are like, it's no like fuck you. It's not that. Because
and in the midst of dealing with, again, me losing my homie, you know, me doing that dumb shit, I didn't realize I didn't grieve that part. I didn't grieve that breakup. I was like, you know,
you're just covering shit up.
Right. I'm just like, hey.
You're just covering shit up, and then you go to the club, and then you drink, and you're like, I'm good. And then you wake up like, what is going on with me?
Right.
And it just completely repeats itself over and over again.
And within that too, I also realized that like, yo, like for the last 4 or 5 years, I honestly only lived life just going on to the next day. If that makes sense.
Expound a little bit.
I would want to get home. It's like you go through some crazy messed up thing in your life. You just want to go home. You want to get it out the way. You just go on to the next day. I did that for like 4 or 5 years. You know, again, between all that, figure out my relationship too, you know? So within that scary situation that happened this past Saturday,
right?
I feel like it was like the best thing that could have happened, because I went through a lot of like reflection the past 3 days after the next 3 days afterwards. It was like, nah, like now it's time to gear up. It's time to tighten up. It's time to get out of this funk that I was in. It's time to complete tasks in my crib that I never completed.
As a person who used to live with you, I'm like, that's good. Because I used to be like, oh, you need some hangers? Because, like, I used to like come in your room. I'd be like, do you need hangers? Because I don't understand.
I would just walk into my crib and place the, if you looked at my closet, and I used to never live like this. I never lived like this. But you walked in my closet, it was just a big mountain of clothes.
It was.
A big mountain. I would just take the clothes, throw it there, and be like, all right, on to the next day, man. But yeah, I took my time. Like, well, why has my clothes been this way?
Right.
You know? And I took my time, and that thing looks like a stock room at Tommy Hilfiger.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, that's dope.
I finally got my clothes nice and organized and fixed up. You know what I mean?
It's baby stuff. It's baby steps. And it's funny. Like, I saw something on social media where somebody was saying that, like, your environment is a representation of your mind. And so it was like, if your environment just looks crazy or whatever, typically those are people who their life at that moment is just crazy and all over the place.
Yeah.
And so it's like the fact that you're kind of acknowledging that, because that's crazy that it took like a drunken night for you to be like,
No. It took a drunken night of me reaching out to random people, friends,
and exes. A whole bunch of stuff that will not be named. A whole bunch, because when you called me the next day and told me the list of stuff, I was like, what? Like, how do you? You was like, I don't remember any of. I'm like, how do you do that and don't remember? You know,
I have a Sunday fun day the next day. I walked in like death. Everybody was like,
are you
good?
okay?
And I'm like, I don't even want to.
I don't want to talk about it.
Just give me water. Like, I just need to hydrate, get through this gig, and get the hell home.
Right.
You know?
Well, I'm glad that it's crazy. Like, what I was saying is, like, it's crazy how something like that can happen. And then it's like, wait a minute, how did I get here? And like you said, it's 5 years of stuff that you just haven't dealt with, haven't unpacked. Yeah. And then that shows itself in how you're living and the things you're telling yourself and, you know, how you're reacting to people when you get alcohol in your system. Like, I just want a hug. It's like, hey, let me call you like 80 times. You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy how something like that can kind of trigger your mind. And it's cool too that, you know, we've talked on this show before about how you've done therapy and stuff like that in the past. And it's cool for me at least to see you now saying, okay, let me sit down and figure out why I'm here because I don't want to be here. Yeah. So, okay. So I'm in this place because of this. and this happened because of this. And it's cool kind of seeing you like connect the dots and literally pinpointing it back to stuff that happened to you 5 years later. That's so crazy how trauma works and how trauma, you know, shows itself.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. Like I said, like I feel like a lot of that depression too, like I didn't deal with.
You didn't. You didn't because you didn't have time. We were working and you had to go to the DJ and then we had to be at the radio station. Then you had to come deal with your girlfriend and y'all had to do y'all stuff. Then you had to deal with your family and it's life. Yo, life be lifing and adults be adulting, bruh.
Yeah, it was a lot of, like I said, it was a lot of reflecting, and I'm just glad that I got out of the way because I woke up. Literally, it was 3 days, and I remember Danie texted me. She was like, "Yo, I was giving you one more day to be sad."
And I was about to
pull up to the crib.
I was gonna roll up over here like, "You want some pizza?" I'm about to order pizza now. Actually, I'm like, "You want some pizza?"
Yeah, you're like, "Yo, like I'm giving you one more day," but
for
like,
real,
I needed just that one more day to kind of like, all right, let me figure it out. And I'm by myself in the crib now. You know, 3 bedrooms, just me and my dog. Mm-hmm. You know, like it's empty in here.
I'm right down the street though. If you want to come for dinner or something, that I've invited you like 5 times, but it's cool.
Well, motherfucker, like I said, like I was going through it. All right.
I know. I'm messing with you.
The walls talk, man, and it's like you sit down in empty space, empty space, and I'm just sitting there like, wow, you know, I'm thinking about everything.
Right.
I mean, shit, I basically grew in this damn house. So you sit and the walls fucking talk.
Right.
And it grew me to the place where when I did have the conversation of closure with this woman, I even reached out to her and I told her, I was like, yay, like, I apologize for letting my stubbornness and my depression not allow me to grow into the man that you needed.
Ooh, that's deep right there.
Because I mean, granted, we both had our fair. You know what I mean? Like she had her fair shit, I had my fair shit. You know what I mean? She was just as equally toxic as I was.
Yeah, I would tell both of y'all that too. So I'm not picking no side.
Cats and dogs. You know what I mean? We both had our fair things, but I really came down to the place where I was like, damn, like there was a lot of stupid shit I could have really involved, or I could have just manned up about and adjusted for us, and I didn't do it because I was just like,
for what? What I'm gonna do that for?
Yeah, I was
ego.
Yeah,
that's your ego.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, being stubborn and you know what I mean. Like, man, I ain't gonna do this.
He was like, why I gotta move? Why I gotta bend over backwards for you?
I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't even. Nah. I wouldn't say that's too far.
No. Because I say that because that's me.
Right.
That's me. I'd be like, why am I bending over backwards for you? You ain't bending over backwards for me. Yeah. I do that all the time. See, it's tit for tat with me. I'm petty, so that's why we be.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. But yeah, like I honestly, I just felt like, you know, I felt like I didn't grow into a responsible man.
Right.
I didn't go. And there's a lot of motherfuckers that I know now that are like, and they're about to turn 30. Mm-hmm. That I'm like, damn, like I could have been very well off and in a better. I'm pretty solid now.
Right.
You know, it's just like, damn, I could have been 10 times better than where I'm at right now. Mm-hmm. If I were to actually take the steps to like set structure in my life. See what I'm saying? And I let the depression, all that shit just kind of be like, all right, on to the next day, instead of trying to build a sense of structure to build me for the next day.
Ooh.
Which is, does that make sense?
No, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. But that's this life and its growth. And that's all you can do. Grow and evolve with every coming day.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Yep. I'm sure. So I'm on Bumble now. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You need to put some of that growth and evolution this way, cause child.
No, I was gonna say, like, how the hell are y'all doing?
I'm petty.
I know you are.
I'm petty.
Aren't you like helping out with his social media sometimes here and there? And how's that been?
So yeah, my boyfriend.
By him, I mean her boyfriend.
Yeah. So yeah, my boyfriend. I can be honest. For the past month. Well, actually, no, not the whole month. I'll say this week's been great. But for the past like 3 weeks, we just been.
Oh, yeah?
Butting heads. And it's crazy. It's like when people say that the most important thing in a relationship is communication.
Yeah.
They don't really go into what that means. Because it's like, I communicated to you that we're going to this event at 5:00. But real, true communication is, okay, we're going to this event at 5:00. What time do you want to leave? Because everybody has their own interpretations of things, and you're not in each other's heads. So it's like, okay, well, are we leaving to get there at 5:00? If said events start at 5:00, is it a big deal that we get there right at 5:00, or is if we get there at 5:15 fine? Because then that turns into a thing when it's time to get ready and time to go and stuff. It's like, yo, this thing starts at 5. It's 4:20. Why aren't you ready?
Right.
Because it started at 5:00. Well, it starts at 5, and it's not a situation where you have to be there at 5. You know what I'm saying? It's not like something where you got to check in. It's a floating event. Why do I have to be? Because I want to be there at 5. Well, why don't you tell me that? Then that turns into a thing. So communication is so, like, thorough communication. I'm learning now, cohabitating with a person and growing with a person, that communication is so key. Like, I'm going to cook dinner today. Okay. Well, I'm doing a health plan right now, and my schedule, I got to eat at 6. But I don't plan to cook until 7, but I didn't communicate that to you. So it's like,
oh, so you gotta break it down to
like, yeah, communication when you like are planning.
I can imagine
like family planning type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have 2 other people in the house and you got to get everybody on the same accord. Right, everybody got to, like, all those little things that you don't even think about matter. Like, cause you don't know how this person's interpreting what you're saying in their head.
Right.
So like, yeah, we've been going through it, but it's been like literally when we break it down.
It's crazy because like your man's not the normal human being. He's the New Yorker. He's like my dad, except a little bit more like I don't know. Like he's just very like cutthroat with how he talks.
He talks crazy.
Cause so her man actually worked on my car the other day, fixed it. God bless my car. Like I would have been spending thousands on my car. That man fixed it up.
You know how rotors is like this? Kevin Rotor, how you got 1/2 a rotor? I don't even know cars like. How you got 1/2 a rotor?
About 5 minutes ago when I said I just lived day to day.
Yo, Kevin would stop the car, and the car said. I was like, "What's wrong with your car?" He's like, "Man, that back brake is fucked up. You driving it like this?"
I mean, I had to get to my job.
Yo, that bitch stopped. that bitch stopped stopping. Then he was like, "All right, maybe I should get this looked at." Kevin.
Yeah, I know. I was wild.
But yeah, my boyfriend fixed it for him because my boyfriend, he knows BMWs. He's really good with BMWs. He knows cars in general.
Yeah, I jump on that to say like I actually got to interact with him a little bit more, which is it was easier because like I said, he just reminds me of like my pops and shit.
Right,
like,
right.
They're all New Yorkers, so like talking to him, and there was just certain things that's just like, I was like, yeah, damn, I didn't know I did that. That's dope. His natural reaction was, well, I'm telling you, I know what I'm doing, so you should just believe me already. I know what I'm doing, so you should just believe me instead of saying that. And I'm like, damn, bro, like you could have just said, I know. You know what I mean? You don't have to fucking say that to me.
No, but he's like that. But that's just
his natural personality.
No,
so
but it's funny
cool. It's cool.
Because if I do that, he's like, well, how do you know that? I'm telling you, I know. You do the same thing. Like,
Yeah,
I know what I'm talking about.
His natural thing is just like for you to expect that, like like trust him.
Right.
Trust him. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I can imagine the communication be like, yo, like, how does that make sense?
No, but that's the thing. Like, he's a New Yorker, so he's used to interacting with people a certain way.
Right.
Like in New York, people are very direct. They're very quick. Like even just something as simple. We went to get Italian ice the other day. And so the people in front of us at the Italian ice place, they're like, hi, welcome. How may I help you? Another person goes, hi, welcome. How may I help you? Oh, coming right up. He gets to the window. All right, so it's going to be 2 smalls. I want this one, and a mango. Let's go. And the guy's like, his brain scrambled. He was like, what?
I didn't
like, what?
Do the high part.
Right? He's like, what? And Robert's like, I said I want this one, and a mango to go.
Like I don't have no relation to you. Your job is to serve me.
Like but that's not even how he's come. But that's how they interact in New Yorker.
Yeah, that's
because in New Yorkers it's like because I will never forget being a kid when I went to New York to see my aunt. I remember she took us to McDonald's, and my parents, when we were kids, we went to McDonald's like once every 2 weeks. So when she took us to McDonald's because we was like, oh, what?
Yeah.
And it was this large McDonald's in the middle of like Times Square, and we were like, oh wow, like look at this. It's people everywhere. And the chick, she like, look, she goes, and I was like, my aunt's like, go ahead, tell him what you want. And I was like, and I'm trying to read the menu. She was like, next pizza, next person. She's trying to figure it out. And my aunt was like, yo, you got to know what you want up here. Like, what is it that you want? You want a double cheeseburger? You want a Big Mac? Like, what you trying to get? And I was like, there's so many options. I don't know. My brain is exploding. So I get it when people interact with him because he, again, is used to interacting with people who act like that.
Yeah,
like New Yorkers are quick because you have to be. Right. Like it's fast paced. It's like, yeah, we're not getting up to the counter, like at the lunch counter and being like, let me.
Yeah, my
what are the specials? Like,
my dad's a little bit more calm and comical.
Well, he's been here longer.
Yeah, my dad's a little bit calm, comical. You know what I mean? My dad's been here for like 20-some years. You know what I mean?
Then the other thing that we've kind of been butting heads on this week is just we're in the same space too much. Like he now works from home. I'm now working from home.
Gotcha.
And so it's like it's too much interaction to where it's like, why you chewing like that? Why your eye look like that? Like, shut up. Like,
why your leg look like that?
Shut up.
Why your foot bow like
You finished? You finished? But it's like too much interaction. So I'm like, I'm definitely seeing how in the pandemic, people was just like, I don't want to deal with this.
I'm not sure I understand.
Girl, anybody talking to you? Well, I'm saying I definitely see how in the pandemic, how they said like people were divorcing and there are all these breakups that happened during the pandemic, like the numbers skyrocketed. I definitely see how that happens if you're not willing to like be like, okay. Because we had a conversation. It was like, okay, for the past 2 weeks, we've been, what's going on? Right. How do you feel? Okay, this is how I feel. Okay, so what we gonna do moving forward? And so we like put stuff in place, and this week's been great.
Dope. That's dope.
Like this week's been great. Like it was like, okay, we're spending too much time together. He went to Miami.
Went to Miami?
He came back looking like a hoochie daddy. I was like, who are you? Yeah, he went to Miami. Well, he's into cars and stuff. So they had this car thing, I don't know what you call it. But it was like a whole bunch of people that have the same car as him. And they all drove to Miami together. So he was like meeting some new people, meeting some friends. He's actually going to a car thing with Alex this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, because, Alex is into cars like that. So Alex is like, yo, I'm going to start talking to him or whatever. And so they've been like talking car shit. And so big shouts out Alex Shane. So they're actually going to go to an event together. So he's like now actively finding things to do outside of the house. And I've been doing the same thing. I'm like, we doing a podcast today.
a lot of reflection this week, which is dope. Make sure you subscribe, ring the bell.
like, subscribe, share this podcast with your friends.
Absolutely.
Again, we starting this thing back up. We're starting it from scratch. We're really working hard to put together a really good show for y'all.
Yeah.
We appreciate the love. Like, keep those comments coming. We see the comments on the YouTube page. We see the comments. You can comment on the reels. On the reels. Yeah, on the TikToks too. It's been TikTok's been like a weird place, but they've been having some interesting.
I feel like TikTok, everybody just be entitled as hell to say whatever the fuck
TikTok is
say.
Weird, bro. They just be like,
TikTok is the real New Yorkers. They say what the hell they want, man.
TikTok, and they was like, yeah, it's because y'all suck. I was like,
no, it wasn't suck. It was just like,
he's like, because y'all not big enough.
Yeah, because they thought that we were making music. And it's like, no, what? Motherfucker, we not making music.
It says podcast on the page. But okay.
Also, I got plans to like really add something special to the channel. So we're gonna actually work on it this weekend, and I don't know, maybe you'll see it next week.
Maybe. We'll see. So again, thank y'all so much for listening. We appreciate y'all. Subscribe, like, share, all of the things. Comment. We do comment back, and we will see y'all or talk to y'all next week.